Maybe to love something, we have to control it. And what I don't control, I don't love. What I don't control, I manipulate into loving me until I subsequently love it. It's not a system that rewards long term relationships, and I'm constantly burning bridges, sexual or otherwise. I never reap the benefits of such relationships. Again, sexual or otherwise. I had a dream once when my libido had been stripped completely, or so I thought. It was this incredible sex dream which involved a woman and a man. The first part was all woman. She was a stunning combination of all my favourite porn stars, shape-shifting between one sexually accomplished partner to another. The midpoints between these shifting patterns of flesh and bone briefly took the form of some primordial aberration, all bulbous and pulsing with a sexual imperative. Of course, I acquiesced, letting a mass of genitals, arms, legs, and mouths engulf me in a tender embrace. Simultaneously, we were inside each other, a mess of contradictions with one singular need. Everything else was peripheral to the moment, cascading into one another like a kaleidoscope, no beginning and no end. The momentum shifted, becoming more frantic and needful. I couldn't tell what was mine anymore, and my consciousness began to stretch across the vast expanse. The whole scene was perverse, and I couldn't stop it. No one could. This sexual scene had a momentum of its own, fueled by a promise. The whole thing had its own gravity in orbit, pulling in unwilling celestial bodies to crash and burn furiously. They had an ecosystem, a combination of alcohol and drugs precipitating sequentially, providing an unholy nourishment, perfectly balanced to sustain life. Soon, a face began to emerge from the rubbling mass I was part of. One that seemed familiar and not, eyes soft and full of regret. I recognized this look. It's a cancerous rancor that's been feeding off itself for decades, all taut and bloodthirsty. But here it's a pity dressed in a shape I know and don't all at once. This thing lay down, willing me to do the same with it. But this wasn't some scene reminiscent of any porn flick, it was more time consuming in the best way. I savoured its mouth, which tasted like citrus, and with each thrust into each other, my once depleting consciousness was being resuscitated. I felt like I had finished in my sleep, but no such luck on that front if we're talking about depletion. I absorbed my perfect partner, all life force siphoned off to sustain my vampiric need. I didn't care that they ceased to exist, because like I said, nothing exists outside the moment. All youthful auras will be used up by my decree, let it be known. This post-coital bliss of my perfect mate was rudely interrupted by my next willing or unwilling figure. Me. I found myself in a grand auditorium filled with dark oak furnishings and several hundred people. It was an intense baroque scene in which I found myself in a grand auditorium filled with dark oak furnishings and several hundred people. It was an intense baroque scene, with them filling the seats in the mezzanine and the ground, and a stage unusually in the centre of the space. The special act being us. My twin had broken off from my cancer, hitting the floor with a deep thud, and began to reconstitute itself, taking my form with a quickness. Not a sound from our audience, just a mass of blank expressions in some idle state, needing the right stimulus to perform their preordained program. There's a lake behind the eye staring back at me, black like obsidian, and it's threatening. It wants me in there, in the dark, in the cold. I scream and no sound comes out, and I can't move and I can't breathe. Everything shuts down, right down to the tiniest cells in my body. A soundless scream, it's like a dinner bell. All the people begin to tear and fuck at each other. It's a landscape of bodies absorbed by others through violence. It's outrageous. There's a fine mist covering it all. It disgusts me. A rich smell fills my nostrils, a combination of copper and salt. It repulses me further, and I can taste it. It's hostile, just like the eye staring back at me. Sometimes hostility comes in the form of silence. It's deafening. Tinnitus erupts in my ear canal, throbbing and ebbing through both till it reaches my brain, threatening to erupt and send grey matter across the scene. Can't take it any longer. My bones crack and splinter. Shards penetrate the soft flesh beneath. My organs rupture and spill out, filling the space it shouldn't. My skin tears and shatters into tiny pieces, sending my audience into an ecstasy. I wake to find myself covered in sweat and confused. I've been screaming at the top of my lungs. My body was in a post-coital bliss without the actual sex. I resigned myself to not giving a fuck eventually about the whole thing, not wanting to pull at that thread, and then went back to sleep. I hadn't eaten in days. My last meal was some kebab house pizza, greasy and potent, a mess of foodstuffs. I put the afterburners on my digestive system. The visit to the box was in the post. I just had to sign for it, special delivery. The thought of hovering over cold porcelain had momentarily set my nervous system outside my body. I am not me. I'm sat at home in my dilapidated chair, a descriptor I currently match. I can't seem to send the right signals to my muscles to move. The ones that do receive it are twitching around my stomach. Through great difficulty, I move forward. However laboured and fraught with exhaustion, I don't really want to do so. I'd rather sit in the chair and let myself decompose, slowly wilting into the fabric beneath. My legs are so unsteady, it's like they're in a different time zone. I imagine my chair spitting me out across the room, splattering my organs across the wall. I chuckle momentarily at the image of my body's internal contents made external. I wouldn't blame it, loyal as it's been supporting my withering framework, as I reward it with various spills, body fluids and gases, bearing the marks of all my indiscretions. I stand there, motionless, as lateral movement will cause me further discomfort. I'm looking around for anything to align my spinal column and my spirit. Nothing but empty immediate space and cold, damp, smelling air around me. The room feels cavernous and unsympathetic. I haven't cranked a window open in a while, and I'll have to do that sharpish. Maybe tomorrow. It'll be cold out, and I'm at the gaff all day on the sesh. I require bevs, birds, and a warm domicile. I'm pretty much bereft of all those things at the moment. That's what I'm severely lacking right now is sex. When I'm with a girl, I don't really see her. She's just a series of interconnected parts, assembled in various shapes, sizes, and predilections, and I just don't care. To me, I use them up until my soul, my heart, and my beliefs are reignited. bringing a fleeting reprieve of which the gaps between its effectiveness grow wider and wider. I hate myself for it. I move over with a tempered gait to the shelf with the drinks on, propping myself up against the wall and attack the bottles fiendishly for the right elixir. Tequila will do. In doing so, I've knocked over several glasses, and I notice my hands are shaking. It's the morning and I can't function without something to level me out. My heart's racing for some reason. There's a vacuum in my lungs, like having a space like the room I'm occupying. My pupils shorten to that of a pinhead, and everything feels distorted and unreal, like a thin sheet of plastic over it. My head thunders and it feels like my brain soaking up blood supplies from my vital organs, and it's gaining mass at an intense rate, pressing against the side of my skull and threatening to send bone fragments all over the place. I can't speak, hear, or breathe. A well erupts from the empty space inside me. I'm on my knees weeping uncontrollably, rivers of the stuff from some unknown source. Memories flash before my eyes, like the flashes from a muzzle of a rifle. The sound of these flashes is deafening, and the images brighter still. Flash, bang, flash, bang, flash, bang. I can't see anything past them, it's maddening. I can't find a foothold to stay in the present. I puked on myself, thick like black tar, and it's steaming as it meets the slightly colder air. Must have been recent. There's some residue of whatever that was still inside me, but I don't want to look at it. Compartmentalization is key if you're going to survive this game. I throw it away. Any further excavation is just going to make things worse. And I'm not in any fit state to do so. I don't care right now. Forcing myself not to care. Again, it's outside the moment. And right now, I need to shower the sludge off me. I chin the contents of the bottle I was going to hours earlier before the attack. Don't call it that. Don't even mutter its name in close quarters. I move into the bathroom and my head's nipping. It's playing an absolute tune on my skull and I just want it to stop. I feel that vulnerability rising up again and I can't stand it. I'm underneath the almost fluorescent lights bouncing off the white tiles in the bathroom. Being in there, I briefly think about some idea I read that Stanley Kubrick films bathroom scenes because he believed indoor plumbing was the end of civilization. I certainly feel like I'm there. I look back at my visage in the mirror and I don't recognize me. It's like someone's wearing a mask of my face over theirs and I'm all bloated and red. And there's nothing behind the eyes. It's a lake. I think about all those times I've popped those little white chalky things like sweets, knocking them back for a nice, sweet, even keel on which to operate on life. Think about how close I've been to the edge, and I've come back out of fear or hope offered by a friend, some girl, some other opportunity. I think about how I'll exhaust all those things until they're empty and wilted and sick of me. I think about how little I care at the end of these things and what's preceded them in the immediate or the remote past. I think about how on this occasion I did something and I was so close again. And if tomorrow will be a carbon copy, or if that edge is eroding ever so closer to my feet that I won't even realize it. I'm all apart. And the thing of it is, no new knowledge can be obtained. This essentially means nothing.